So as we're heading into the rest of November, I started to realize something. I'm actually getting pretty excited for some of the games coming up. And I know people have said it's a down year for games here and there, and all, but like going into the next couple of weeks here, specifically, I'm going to talk about November, and maybe when we get into December, I can talk about some of the releases there. But I'm pretty excited to jump into a couple of games coming up. And typically, I do like the news stuff, and I have to try to keep up with that. So kind of wanted to hang out for a minute today on a Sunday and just sort of talk about some of the games coming up that I'm genuinely excited for. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure to the like button, and let me know down below if you kind of like the idea of maybe me just checking out some of the games coming up for a month and maybe talking about and discussing if I'm excited or interested in them. So I'm gonna start with Harvestella. It came out and I kind of forgot it came out, unfortunately. So that's one of the reasons I'm more or less making the video now, since this week coming up is when things really get started for me. And that starts with Sonic Frontiers. And, you know, I'm really hopeful for this game. And it seems like everyone just has the game right now, at least on Twitter. When I'm looking around, people are talking about it. They're discussing it. It leaked on the Switch, which basically means it's released for the Switch, at least for a lot of people who have hacked systems, and it's been dumped online. But even so, I see people with PlayStation 5 versions playing it now. So I think there was a lot of street date breaking that took place, but a lot of the talk is this is actually a good 3D Sonic game, and we've been kind of let down when it comes to 3D Sonic games, basically since Sonic Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast. I mean, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle was good on the GameCube, but it really hasn't hit that kind of a high. And I was hoping when I saw Sonic Frontiers, based on the concept that they're going with open zone and a lot of the promises they're making, this would finally break the curse of 3D Sonic games. And I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna see the embargo go up, I think Monday, the day before it comes out, but a Tuesday release, nonetheless. Look forward to it. Then the following day, God of War Ragnarok comes out, and yeah, the review scores are through the roof. People are loving this game who have been playing it, but like, I have been looking forward to this game for a while. I mean, God of War 2018 was my favorite game on the PlayStation 4 for that entire generation. That was it. It is such a good game, especially with the story between Kratos and Atreus, and obviously the ending kind of leaving it up to, yes, interpretation, but also maybe an omen of things to come. And it seems like this one, they're going even bigger overall, and we will have a conclusion to the story, which is probably the biggest thing, because when you get that cliffhanger on like even the God of War series, we have God of War 2, it is a pain to have to wait so long. But then you see Thor, you see the clashing that takes place in the trailers, and it's like, get me to Wednesday so I can start playing this one. So my plan, I guess, is to jump into Sonic Frontiers as soon as possible, experience some of that, and I might even do like my immediate thoughts on it, where I fire the game up for the first time with Sonic Frontiers, never before that, in a video, and I just kind of discuss what I'm experiencing and my thoughts in real time as I'm seeing it for the first time. I think that could be a lot of fun. And then we go into Tactics Ogre Reborn, which didn't think I'd be saying that. I mean, Tactics Ogre making a return now, that's pretty cool. It's a game that's been out. They're just moving it up to current platforms and all of this, but it's still a great game if you're a fan of strategy RPGs and you've never experienced it. It's one you definitely want to check out. I have that coming in physically. I'm gonna get that one definitely for the collection. Pentiment, I'm just not really feeling it. I know there's a lot of talent behind it, and it kind of is like a passion project for them, and it's gonna go into Game Pass, so if I hear good things about it, maybe I'll give it a download and just sort of check it out and see what all the fuss is about there. I'm going to skip over the Call of Duty Warzone 2.0 release. I think you're getting to Warzone. Maybe I'll check it out because I am enjoying Modern Warfare 2, so the gameplay, at least there, is kind of working for me. But another one that I am more excited about than I kind of was thinking is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, I follow along with some of the Pokemon news, but I'm not like really into the Pokemon news like some other people are. Like, I know people who run entire YouTube channels just around Pokemon, and it does really well because when these releases show up, people get very, very excited, and there is a lot of content there. I know there's always some sort of controversy, some sort of argument. Sometimes I think the Pokemon community just absolutely hates these games, but then you see the excitement, the release, and the legitimate joy that people get out of these titles. And something about Scarlet and Violet is intriguing to me. I feel like it is the idea of the open world nature, the multiplayer, and maybe Game Freak just kind of stepping out of their comfort zone a bit. The legendaries, a little strange since you just kind of ride them around. You get them immediately in the game as well. Again, something a bit different for Game Freak to deal with, and I assume the end game content will be pretty plentiful overall with you getting the legendaries early on. Who knows what's waiting for us towards the end, but I am curious how the overall flow and structure of the game will come together when it's all said and done, considering there's no level scaling necessarily based on the path you're taking, and I'm sure there will be people who will kind of break parts of the game to jump ahead and figure out the easiest path to finish the game quickly, but just the idea of Scarlet and Violet is interesting to me, and I think the last time I was really excited for a Pokemon release, it might have been Diamond and Pearl. Maybe it was Black and White. I haven't been, the most excited I've been for a Pokemon game release was Gold and Silver, because we already had Red, Blue, and Yellow kind of in the mix, but Gold and Silver looked like it was taking it to the next level. Then they showed the Red Gyarados. That leaked out online, by the way, like with early message boards and stuff. I think it was from a Space World thing, but that was a big deal. You saw that Red Gyarados, and you're like, whoa, okay, this is getting serious. And then Evil West. This is a game that I think has gone under the radar for a lot of people. It was delayed a couple of months, but it's now found its way into just the end of the year, right, in November. And kind of the trailers they've shown, it's an action-adventure, Western-style game with mythical powers and all these things, and the nicest way possible, I mean this in the nicest way possible, I should say, it reminds me of a game from the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube generation, if that makes sense. Just something about it kind of fits into that generation, but obviously with the visual style, the narrative, and kind of the storytelling elements, those fit in to this generation. The game genuinely looks really good, and I wasn't even really paying attention to it until I think earlier this year, really. People started like talking about it, passing around trailers and stuff, and I was like, hey, this looks pretty good. So I wouldn't be shocked if that one maybe even surprises people with the Metacritic score or something. So definitely keep an eye on Evil West. And then the one that I'm going to close up with here is Gungrave Gore. Gungrave is a game from that generation, the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube. I remember renting it one time, and the game isn't necessarily good. Like, people aren't looking back on it as like, this is just an absolute classic, incredible title, but something about it just, once again, reflects that time period. It's just the action, over-the-top, Devil May Cry style game that I do gravitate towards, and that does kind of remind me of those old nostalgic days. So I think Gungrave is going into Game Pass day one. I'll admit, I'm not expecting over-the-top critical reception from this thing. No, I think it's going to be one of those guilty pleasure, just kind of fun, throw it on one night and see what you get out of it style games. But sometimes it's fun to get those kind of games. Not every game has to be this over-the-top, incredible narrative quadruple A experience like a God of War. Sometimes it's fun to get those popcorn titles. One thing's for sure, though, on Tuesday when things kick off with Sonic Frontiers, it's basically release after release after release, and it's gonna be tough to get through all of these games. I think I'm gonna go Sonic Frontiers, play as much as I can, go to God of War, just streamline that quickly so I can get to the end and not have anything spoiled for me. Maybe go back to Sonic Frontiers, then Pokemon, which Pokemon's going to take up so much time, and then Evil West, Gungrave, so you can kind of see how that's quickly packing the schedule. And then we go into December when things don't slow down like you would expect. So let me know if you want me to talk a bit about what's in December, maybe as we get into that month. It'd have to be pretty quick because the first week things get moving once again. But let me know which games here you are most excited for. Is it the Pokemon? Is it God of War? Is it Sonic? Hey, maybe it's even Evil West. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.